What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Wide Body Nation. I've had the twin turbo C8 at the track, an 1/8 mile and a 1/4 mile, which you guys saw in the intro the last 2 weekends in a row. It's been super nice weather up here in like the Nashville area, so obviously I had to take advantage of that, even though it was late February, early March. So with that being said, is the car amazing? Obviously the twin turbo C8 is the ultimate crowd grabber right now. I mean, the Z06 hasn't really come out to the public yet, so this is still kind of the coolest thing since sliced bread. It sounds amazing, it drives amazing, it looks pretty amazing, and kind of that's where we're at. But honestly, you know, I'm a little bit disappointed with my current performance so far, and honestly, I can't really fault the car. It's mainly me. So I went out. I obviously have a lot of seat time when this car was full bolt-ons, because remember, back before I did the twin turbo kit, I had headers, I had the upgraded axles, I had some aftermarket wheels, I had it straight piped, I did some other little minor things, brakes and some, obviously the wrap, but I did enough to get it to run low 11s. I mean, I was running 11.1 carbon copy time slips. And oh, by the way, this video will have time slips. We got 1/4 mile and 1/8 mile time slips, and I'll show you them because I'm not afraid of it, because honestly, if you're gonna race me, it's gonna be faster than the time slips you see. There's a reason they call it test and tune. That's because I'm testing things out and I'm learning that I can't run this car like I used to. So long story short, I'm gonna get in the cockpit of the car. I'm gonna show you guys how I used to run the C8 for those low 11, 10 times out of 10, and twice on Sunday time slips. And then I'm gonna show you the time slips racing with those conditions of what the twin turbo C8 did and what I need to do to actually run presumably high 9s after we take out some of the crap from the back, because my trailer is not here yet. I should be picking it up within the next week or two. And as you guys know, if you race at all, having a trailer at the track is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, it lets you take out everything from the car that you don't need, including, you know, I mean, just everything saves weight. So without further ado, let's check out some time slips. We will start with the 1/8 mile first. Now, keep in mind these time slips, I was racing with the settings of track mode, which I'll turn the car on in a second, but it's gonna be loud, so you might not be able to hear. I was in track mode. I would do a burnout with everything off. So that's when you tap traction control and then hold it for 5 seconds, and it turns ESC and the traction control off. Now, after I would do the burnout, I would then turn it back on. So you tap it real quick, and then you do the tap to get into competitive mode. So that was step 3. So you go track mode, then you do everything off to do a burnout, and you foot brake the burnout, which is more of just like kind of a tire scrub than a burnout. Then you do the ESC competitive mode. That's what it's called. It's called competitive mode. It will pop up right here on the dash. And I'll show you in a second. I just want to verbalize it before I do it and you can't hear me. So in that mode, which I'm going to show you in a second, my best time I was able to run was a 6.82 in the 1/8. My best 60 foot was a 1.52. And my best, my best mile an hour was a 105.15. 105.15. And that is in the 1/8. So those are my 3 big time slips for that. And then I'll get into the 1/4 after. We have our 1/4 right here. And that's what you guys saw in the intro to the video. So, long story short, I'm about to show you exactly how I used to run my best times in the C8, but disclaimer, it is not working for me anymore, so I need to switch it up. So with that being said, let's show you guys. So we turn the car on. Burnout, 1, 2, Okay, now you can see it's ESC off and both are off. So you have off and off. Yes, my check engine light's on. So this is when you do the burnout. Now when you do this, you can only foot brake up to about 2,000 RPM up here. After you do your burnout, so let's say you do the burnout, right? Blah, blah, blah. That's when you go back off and everything is off. And then you just do tap, tap. And that's where you get competitive mode. And now we'll shut her down. Okay, so all the videos that you see of people in C8s that aren't drag racing properly, they're probably not in the right mode. If you're drag racing a C8, you either need to be 100% traction control off or you need to be in ESC competitive mode. If you are on a stock C8, or if you are basically just bolt-ons, as they would say, you need to be in competitive mode, in my opinion. That's the fastest I've been able to get, is ESC competitive mode. So with that being said, let's look at our quarter-mile time slips, and then I will go into what I think and what Cicio Performance has told me to actually run. So disclaimer on my quarter-mile slips is they were doing a sportsman's tree all day, and I don't usually want sportsman's. I usually like the pro tree personally. So I did red light on this one by like an eighth, I guess less than a tenth of a second. I kind of rolled through the beams on this one, but this was my best time slip of the day. I was able to run a 10.58, a 10.58 at 130, and almost all my time slips are a 130. I think I did a 132 with one of these other ones, but yeah, my 60 foot here at Bowling Green was not ideal. It was, 1.7, like a 1.6 here. So, not terribly ideal, honestly. Here's a 10.61. This had a better 60 foot of 1.62, but the C8, now that I've doubled the horsepower, it is definitely not the same car anymore. I mean, I really need to do some more test and tune. This was my worst run of the day against the GT500, where it fell on its face for 2 shifts in a row. We're at a 7.2 in the eighth. That is just not okay. So yeah, basically that's it. So I actually have the owner's manual out here, and I was looking into kind of all aspects. So from what Cicio Performance has told me, I need to be in track mode with ESC and traction control and everything all the way off, or else like for instance, my drag tires back there, those forge lines here, they're a pretty short tire. Short as in like not tall, so they can potentially mess with the traction control / the ABS and all of that. And the car is almost too smart for itself. So like it thinks the wheels are spinning too fast, and it will actually cut power or use the brakes to clamp down. So unfortunately, that I think is going to cause me to lose launch control though, because launch control, as I showed you guys, you can only get launch control, from what I understand, in the ESC competitive mode. So if you do everything off like you're going to do a burnout, from what I understand, you can't use the actual launch control, which I believe launches at 3,500 RPM. And you can only foot brake to about 2,000 RPM. So I am kind of gonna have to, I guess, go back out to the track and start testing tuning again, trying to dial in everything with everything off. And then they also told me that I want to be in some version of manual mode for the transmission. Now I'm gonna try to see if it's faster for me to actually shift, or if it's faster for me to let the car shift, but perhaps in like a manual mode, if that makes any sense. Now, back when this car was not boosted, I could never get it I could never get faster results with me trying to shift or trying to modulate settings. The car was always faster. Now that it's boosted and it has basically double the horsepower that the car is used to, I think I'm going to have to intervene and potentially be the one shifting, or be the one at least pushing some more buttons and shutting some stuff off as far as traction control, stability control, whatever it may be, to make the car actually perform to its true potential now. Because let's face it, the thing is smart, but like, it can't be, you know, it's programmed for 495 crank horsepower, not the better part of 900 crank horsepower. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at, folks. Let me show you these wheels and how short they are, because I think that's kind of some of the math that is getting us jacked up here. So, I mean, I feel like these are a much shorter wheel, but they're really not as short as I thought. So this street wheel is a 21 by 12, and so it's a 21-inch rim. It has a 30 profile tire on there, and it's a 325 wide. This is also a 325 wide, but it's only an 18-inch rim with a 35 profile. So the tire's about an inch shorter, as you guys can see, which you wouldn't think would cause any issues, but you know, I guess it does. But you know, I gotta experiment with running maybe a little bit lower tire pressure at the track. I've been running at about 20, about 18, 19, 20. You know, with these C8s, they got all the weight over the rear axle, so you don't need to run in the low teens to get the grip. So I do need to start experimenting with some higher front tire pressure. Sorry, it's kind of dirty in here, but you know, that's what happens when you don't have a trailer. I have to ride shotgun with a tire. But I had a tire on the roof with a ratchet strap, which I didn't take a picture of because I'm an idiot, and I had a tire in the passenger seat. But I had all the jacks in the back seat, or in the trunk. So, you know, long story short is we are, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. I used to be super, you know, I used to kind of feel like there was nothing I could do to make this car run faster back when it wasn't boosted. Obviously, I don't have a laptop to tune MoTec, so I can't really like mess with the tune. Maybe I should learn how to do that. Maybe I should. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff to do with this car, with the settings that are just natural to the car, that I need to relearn and hone in. Because, I mean, the Cicio shop car that has this exact same package is running high 9s. So I kind of need to get my act together and start putting some better time slips together with this car, whether that be run some lighter wheels. I mean, those wheels are great, the beadlocks are great, but I don't even know if I really need the beadlocks. I have some lighter wheels that are getting done up by Battleborn Coatings right now that we can get on here and maybe cut off 1/10 or so with some significantly lighter forge lines. You know, I can take out some weight, you know, take out the passenger seat, shed all this crap in the back, and then, you know, even tow hooks and a couple other things we can shed, you know, between 100 and 200 pounds, which should equal at least a little bit on the time slip, and then just getting that transmission ironed out. That is another thing that Cicio just came out with. From what I understand, they came out with another module to go ahead and help with the trans. I would say that the limiting factor right now, other than the fact that my engine is the stock motor, stock block, stock internals, another limiting factor is the fact that the transmission it's a good transmission. It's a Tremec dual clutch 8-speed, but it is, again, built for 495 crank horsepower, so it's not necessarily tuned or ready for 800 plus to the wheels. So, you know, we have upgraded axles, we have the upgraded clutch, but even like the synchros and just kind of the programming that you guys are kind of used to with all these other cars that maybe are less new age, you know, like a Hellcat, you buy transmission credits when you buy tuning credits, right? And you get in there and you do the beep boop bop boops. But with this car, you can't do as much of that as you might like. So, you know, with that being said, if you guys have a stock C8 and you are looking for the fastest way, in my opinion, to run it, it is in competitive mode. Do your burnout with everything off and just scrub the tires clean. Make sure your tire pressure is low enough to get that grip, and then make sure you're in competitive mode, because that is the quickest way to launch it I have seen. And I had over 35 passes on the drag strip, and then plenty of street launches to back that up. I've kind of played with every mode of the C8. and then track mode for me worked best. Now with this, you guys are gonna have to stay tuned because I am still kind of deep in the test and tune phase of this here twin turbo kit. You know, we have the secondary fuel rail with the E85 because the E85 is in the front. That's where the fuel tank and fuel pumps are. They send it up here. We got headers, and then we have the turbo kit poking out the back right here. And yes, I've already put over 1,000 miles on this turbo kit, so the turbos are a little bit corroded with that center section because there has been salt on the roads here. But hey, I'm trying to drive this thing. I'm trying to learn about this system, and I'm trying to have other people try to help out the shops and everybody else kind of learn the ins and outs of this system because it is new to pretty much everybody. So it's cool to have it out on the roads, Cars and Coffee, racetrack, and with all the shoots with all the photographers that I know, we're getting a lot of good content for y'all. So appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you guys are subscribed for the next videos on the C8s. We'll probably do some more car buying videos coming up soon because let's face it, the car market is even worse. Gas prices are a thing at this point, so I guess I'm gonna have to start researching how to save money on gas because I'm not really interested in paying $5 a gallon for premium. That's like race fuel prices, not just like premium at the pump prices. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys for the next video.